Ugandan officials say the death toll from a recent landslide has now risen to 43. Hundreds remain in desperate need of relocation. Uganda's government wants the displaced residents to be resettled immediately. More than $8 million has been made available to finance emergency relocations, and a 2,800-acre plot has been procured. The country's President Yoweri Museveni has apologized for a lack of urgency in moving people away from the disaster area. He has also urged Ugandans not to construct buildings on unstable riverbanks. Meanwhile, the Uganda Red Cross has launched an appeal for $340,000 to support those affected by the recent landslide. CGTN's Isabel Nakirya reports.
There is little hope of finding any more survivors. A week after the Bududa landslides, teams are searching for the remains of those still unaccounted for. Humanitarian agencies have switched focus to providing families with food, water, blankets and health care. They've also urged the government to reassess its budget for environmental disasters like this one.
Disaster management, government should look at it as one of the key priority areas for support. Because when it happens, when a disaster happens, the way it impacts on people, you can't leave it to chance. People die, properties are destroyed, people are injured. And so the message we are trying to put across is, let the government put in money.
The Red Cross says it needs $340,000 to support the hundreds of families displaced by the landslide. Mount Elgon is prone to landslides during the rainy season. New cracks are appearing on the slopes and could break loose any moment.
The policy in itself is good, but it's not enough. It's not adequate to enable us effect some of the requirements that we need to make sure that our communities are more resilient and to make sure that, for example, when disasters occur, that we are able to respond efficiently, adequately and in time.
The government is planning to move communities to safer ground, but has allocated only $30,000 to the operation, which is nowhere near enough. In the past, government efforts to relocate people living on the slopes of Mount Elgon have largely failed. Residents have argued that the mountain slopes are fertile, far suited to agriculture than the other parts of the country that they have been told to move to. But with landslides happening more frequently, some people are now willing to move to save their lives. Isabel, Nakirya, CGTN, Kampala.